Hello and welcome to the 7th installment of the Synapse Misfire podcast. I'm your host, Chris, and our other host, Jordan.
Hey, just think, you can listen to one episode a day. That's a week.
Whoa!
That's crazy.
Cut that out if you think that's too loud.
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
I didn't mention in the last episode because I'm bad at my job, but if you want to email us, send us your comments, questions, concerns, or death threats, send emails to synapsemisfire@pm.me, and your comment, question, concern, death threat will be read on the show.
Yeah, and don't forget that if you want to listen to this podcast in an Apple Pocket Cast or some other, RSS reader, we have a link down in the description for our RSS feed, so you can import it to a podcast app, because we know YouTube sucks.
Yeah, especially because you can't lock your phone and listen to a show.
Yeah, unless you have premium or whatever.
Granted, I use YouTube Vanced, which I do on Android, so that lets you do that functionality.
Yeah.
But normally you cannot.
Yeah, which is bootay. So yeah, check the description, RSS feed. Email will also be down there. So
it's true, and it's probably also on the screen currently.
Yeah, look at the bottom right corner.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. So I hear you have a story to tell.
In fact, I do have a story.
Okay.
And this is a little behind the scenes, a little like what is that? Fucking
behind the curtains?
Lifting the veil.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain, you get to see a little bit of, hear about a little bit of my thought process about some of my videos that are coming up and are already out. My NAS project, which I'm going to change the name to the NAS/server project.
Yeah.
Just because it's a more fitting name.
You want to plug your channel name as well, and I'll link it.
Yeah, find me on YouTube. At my channel name is Sardonic. I can't get a custom link because I think you need like 1,000 subs to do it.
Yeah.
Which I don't have.
So I'll just post a general link down below. Click on it. Check it out.
I do mainly like technology stuff. If you search back in the archive, I have a lot of commentary stuff too. But I don't upload super frequently. But I'm planning on changing that sometime soon.
Yeah. So, tune in.
But the first part of the project is already out, where I purchased this server, and I'm installed a bunch of hardware to it and what have you. Now, I have filmed part 2, and I refilmed part 2, and I refilmed part 2 again, probably.
And again.
And I refilmed part 2 again today, which I think is going to be the final rev because I've actually done research and have a solid idea of what I want to do with the machine. So essentially my first revision was to wait and the first revision was to install all the software to it. So I installed a bunch of software. Firstly, I used Open Media Vault, which is more like of a NAS software you would use on like a Raspberry Pi or something. Because that's what I used on my Raspberry Pi. I used a Raspberry Pi with Open Media Vault, and I plugged in a external 2 terabyte hard drive, just as a network backup. It's very bare bones. There's not like I said, it's very bare bones. You can do a lot of stuff with it, but nowhere near the level you would get with like Unraid or FreeNAS or something.
Yeah, so it's like a more basic version, but
yeah, but it's
not incredibly basic.
Pi,
yeah,
the second revision I did was me installing. I was gonna do free because it's a Blade server, so there's 2 nodes in it. It's 2 actual computers in it. I was gonna do that one with Open Media Vault, and one was going to be just like a Debian server. So I would just run a Linux machine on it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure about how I wanted to do virtualization. Because I wanted to toy with virtualization, virtual machines and stuff. But I just never did it. I didn't know how to do it properly.
Yeah.
So the next revision was one side was going to be FreeNAS, and one side was going to be a Plex server.
What's a Plex server?
So a Plex server, Plex is a software that essentially you can build your own media library. So basically, like think like Netflix.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah.
Except it's all your own media.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
Media that I obviously obtained legitimately and legally.
Off of illegal websites.
Yes. There was a lot of issues with this revision. Essentially, after this time, I had waited. I wanted to get some new heat sinks for the server, because that was my initial working theory for getting the server to quiet down. Was new heat sinks.
Yeah, because it was a loud boy, wasn't it?
It was very loud. I went over that in the first part of the series where I started up the server. And I held my lav mic directly to my mouth. Just went, it sounds like a fucking leaf blower. And, because I had to yell over the server.
Yeah, because it's loud as hell.
So, that I had to get rid of. I had to get rid of the original fans. There was no question about that. So I ordered some new heat sinks, but finding socket 1366 heat sinks is surprisingly difficult.
Really? That's the server processor socket?
That's one of them.
One of them.
Finding a heatsink for a 10-year-old server processor is kind of difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I did find ones on eBay that were labeled socket 1366. Turns out when they showed up, they were socket 775, which 775 is like I want to say a Core 2 socket.
Yeah.
So they were nowhere near rated for the 95 watt TDP of the CPUs that were in.
Yeah, that big ass CPU.
Which, and it's a 95 watt TDP, and between the two machines, there's 4 of them. So
it's a lot of heat.
Yeah. So I was actually able to have it running for a while, but it was actually all the components were like warm to the touch. I had the top of the server, like the top panel on, and it was actually warm to the touch. Like it felt like if I left my hand there for a little bit, I would get a burn.
Really?
Like it was warm.
Yeah, it's obviously no good.
Obviously, this isn't gonna work, because essentially instead of, getting the heat out, what it was doing was pushing the heat down and towards the RAM on the other sides of the CPUs. So it just heated everything up. It just made an oven.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was highly efficient for making pizza.
Yeah, I suppose it, suppose you could do that. And then at that point, I was just so distraught. I just, gave up on the project for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, this ain't gonna get finished. But I've come up with a couple working theories. I've mentioned this. I mentioned this in the videos, but I mentioned this briefly in the network switch video and less briefly in the actual server video. Was I wanted to just use regular. I wanted to use the original fans and try to undervolt them, and that was one of my theories. But I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be way too much of a pain.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to think about using an external power supply for it, or find out how to increase the resistance between, and then, I'm thinking, you have to increase the resistance on 2 amps, and I'm going to have to find a 2 amp resistor.
Yeah, it's a lot of heat dissipation as well.
A resistor that can do, I think they're 12 volt, 5 amps, so it's like a 60 watt resistor.
Yeah.
And most of the common ones, especially all the ones I have, are like quarter watt or half watt.
Yeah.
So I would just end up blowing them up.
Yeah.
So that's obviously kind of out of my reach. Maybe if I was a little more advanced, or I could probably talk to some of my friends and have it done that way, but I'd rather just not. Because it seems way too complicated and convoluted of a situation anyway.
And dangerous, too.
Oh, absolutely. Digging around a power supply is no joke.
Yeah. You don't want to, burn your house down.
or kill myself that way, you know.
Well, man, I mean, no one cares about you. It's the house, man.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Chunk is in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
We can buy a new you. We can't buy a new house.
Or a new chunk.
Well, especially a new chunk.
Yeah, he's one of a kind, that little bastard.
A little pea-brained dumbass.
Stupid ass, fucking plastic eating stupid ass.
You gotta love cats.
Anyway, but now my what I'm gonna end up doing is modifying the chassis in some way that I can put some like regular case fans in. Just because I think that's probably the best solution. Another theory I had was to water cool it, which is something I might delve into sometime, but like I really don't want to sink too much more money into the hardware on this project other than drives.
Yeah.
Just because like a water cooling loop for this would probably like double the price that I put into it so far.
Really? That expensive? Yeah.
I mean, granted, I haven't put a ton of money into it. Maybe total like $450.
Yeah.
But still, like I would much rather not put more money into cooling it. Just because, and it's gonna be super convoluted and it's gonna be a pain because you gotta do 4 CPUs. That's 4 CPU blocks. Then you need to figure out where radiators are gonna go. Then you have to fill the damn thing with water, which that's a whole other thing. You gotta figure out where the reservoir is gonna go.
Yeah.
So it's just a pain. And now, I'm on my final revision, I think. I'm going to be running a virtualization server with Proxmox VE, virtual environment, on both of the nodes. And I'm just going to, that way, right? This is the life hack right here. If you do that, your server can be anything you want it to be. It can be like a Linux box for a sandbox. It can be your media server. It can be your NAS. It can be anything because it's all virtualized.
Yeah.
And I realized this at work. I had we have a virtualization server on site, and it runs a bunch of our stuff, like like our a bunch of our phone stuff, like our phone server and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's a virtualized. And I realize like how powerful virtualization is as a tool, especially if you're making machines that you're only remoting into.
Yeah.
Or connecting into via a console or like an SSH kind of thing. So I actually kind of like that a lot. This might be a bit, I guess my explanation might be a bit techie for a lot of people, but it's definitely an interesting concept, and I'd like to see where it goes, and I'm still working on that currently.
Yeah, I mean, I think you obviously have the know-how, and you can turn it into something that's pretty damn sweet, that's for sure.
Well, I hope so. The main thing is I really know how to make it look like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a good skill. That's
and
almost
make
as
it
good as
sound like I know what I'm doing. I learned about a lot of this very recently, is all.
Yeah. Yeah, so you don't necessarily have the experience.
And in terms of Proxmox specifically, I'm not sure a ton of how it works.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was a very tech heavy story. That was a very like enterprise techy story. You might have a funny one, right?
Yeah,
or
it's
an interesting one?
It's a little bit humorous. Essentially, not naming names, not being too specific. My employer, they did a thing. They did a prize trivia game for the month of August. So every day in August, every work day, we would fill out trivia questions, give our employee number, and they picked winners. So they posted the winners near the time clock each week.
Okay.
Week 1, 2, 3, and 4, because there's like 4 weeks in a month.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, if my math adds up, there's like 8 weeks in a year or something like that. They
Close. Yeah.
They posted the winners, and they posted week 1, 2, and 3, and I hadn't won. I was like, okay, no big deal, just kind of happens. And then I get an email to my employee email on I think it was like last Wednesday, and it's like, hey, yeah, let me know when you want to pick up your prize, and it's one of our, people up front. Again, trying not to be too specific, and I'm like, wait, what do you mean my prize? Like, what did I win? I don't get it. And then I was like, wait a minute, they never posted week 4. So sure enough, I had one for week 4. They hadn't posted it due to some logistical issues. And so some of the prizes were like these nice pots and pan sets, some kitchen utensils, and then a Bluetooth speaker. Okay.
Oh, really?
So here I am, like, what did I win? And they're like, oh, you won the Bluetooth speaker on 825. And I'm like, oh, okay,
epic,
cool.
Nice. Is it a good speaker or like?
When can I come down to get it? Whatever time. Okay. All right, I'll be there. So here I am. I go down to get my Bluetooth speaker, and on the way there, I'm like, Bluetooth speaker, really? Well, I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, I hope it's like a good JBL one, because I know a lot of guys.
There's quite a range of Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah.
Like, I've gotten ones for like $12, and they're okay.
Yeah.
And then I have my JBL one, which is like $120, and it's really good.
Well, I'm thinking JBL because they had done JBL giveaways before at my work where they gave away some JBL speakers, and they're really nice. They have a big-ass one. They have some good, like, portable ones. And then I get down there, and there's this 2-foot-long box with my name on it.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Right? So I'm like thinking, oh, that's probably just some box with paperwork and my name's just on it with a plaque because whatever. And then the person hands it to me and says, here's your speaker, right? And I turn it around and there's a sticker. And you know what it says? Refrigerator Kitchen Sound System. It's a $300 sound system that I won.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's like it's basically a sound bar for your kitchen.
Oh.
And it is fucking incredible.
Oh, okay.
Now, here's where the kind of humorous part comes in. So here I am like, whoa, what the fuck? And at this point, I don't know how much it is. I don't really know what it is. I just know it's a refrigerator sound system, it says, or sound bar, with Bluetooth capabilities. So I'm like, okay, cool. I put it in my car, take it home, try it out. But the funny part is, on the way to my car, I walked past another winner, right? And I'm holding this 2-foot-long cardboard box with a fairly pricey speaker in it. And you know what they had?
What'd they have?
An apple cutter. and I had to make eye contact with this gentleman as I walked out.
He's like, hey, you want 2? You want? Oh, man.
He had an apple cutter. You basically put an apple in this thing, and then you press down, and it slices
it. Was it like part of a set, or is that all he wants? Is that it?
That's it. So imagine my face when I put it in my car, I go back to my work area, and I look up like what this thing is, and I see that it's a $300 sound system, and I think about apple cutter guy with his $6 Walmart apple cutter.
Jordan got this nice sound bar, and Steve down the hall got stuck with a $6 apple cutter that they got at the Stop and Shop off one of those racks that they have like in the middle of the aisle with all the gimmicky stuff on it.
Oh my god. Yeah, like the as seen on TV shit. 1995, bitch. I honestly felt bad. I don't think anyone really caught on. I just don't understand what was this giveaway where there was a couple sound systems and then there was like pots and pans, knives, like.
And like that sounds kind of lame if you're not like, you know, if you've never bought stuff like that before. But like a good set of pots and pans is like big money.
Oh yeah. Well, like even this kitchen sound system, like to a lot of people, that's probably why does that matter?
Well, I guess it doesn't technically have to go in your kitchen.
Number one, it doesn't have to go in your kitchen. And number two, as someone who moved out in January of 2020, talk about fucking bad timing. Honestly, I listen to music in the kitchen all the time when I'm prepping food.
For the, I mean, honestly, if you moved out like in April or May of 2020, you probably could have gotten a house for the same price you're paying for your apartment because of how shitty the housing market is now.
That's a good point. Yeah, something to think about. But yeah, that was just super funny and also sad. I felt bad. I was like, oh no,
that's a shame.
So Steve, if you're listening, even though that's not your name, I don't even know who you are, but if you happen to recognize these events, I'm sorry. Don't rob me. I apologize.
Yeah, I'll do it. Hey everyone, Jordan's address is. I was gonna rattle it off, but I don't actually remember his address. I would have to search for it.
I also edit these anyway.
Oh yeah.
There'll be like a random.
Cut that part out. Cut that part out where I acknowledge it and just be like, "Hey, Jordan's address is," and then it just cuts.
And I'll just be like, "Fucking asshole."
But talking about speakers, actually, this reminds me of something. How I was thinking. Only thinking, just because like I really don't want to spend a lot of money right at the moment.
Understandable.
Because I have to go to college, right?
Well,
I have
do
to
you
pay.
have to go to college?
I just technically, no
course
one
you
has a gun to my head telling me I have to go to college, but I'm already paying for it, so I have to go now.
Yeah, no, yeah, keep going. That's a good thing.
But college and so I'm working a lot less. So like obviously I don't want to spend a ton of money right now. And I just bought a car too, so
Yeah.
not a big purchase car, but a car nonetheless.
Yeah, nonetheless, it's an expense.
$1,000.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that if I can get a good deal, I want to do like a sound system in my car. Not my, Volkswagen, but my actual car.
Your good car, the one you're like financing or whatever.
Yeah. So if I put and I'm looking at them right now. I was looking at them the other day too. But you can get a set of 2 JBL door speakers for $110.
That's not
so
too
I
bad.
could swap out all 4 speakers and get a head unit for I don't know, like
$250 maybe. Well, no, because you still need the head unit. You said so probably
Yeah.
like $300.
Well, and then I have to figure that's the 2 speakers in the front. I can do the 2 speakers in the back. I can get a subwoofer and a head unit for probably like $500 or $600.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. But obviously, I'm not going to spend money right this second. The sound system works, and it's good enough as it is. But this is kind of a goal if I can find a good deal on it. Maybe Black Friday, something like that.
Yeah, that's
But I'm
around the
obviously
corner.
not looking to spend like $3,000 or $4,000 on a sound system.
Yeah, no. Yeah, of course not. But yeah, that's not bad though. That'd be a cool project to work on. Be sure if you do go for it, let me know. It'd be something
Obviously,
to
if I was gonna run a sub, I would do it. I would get at least that part professionally installed.
Yeah.
Just because you have to run wire under the bodywork and stuff, and that's a pain.
Yeah. But the actual speakers, that'd be kind of cool. Hopefully, we don't blow anything up like we did last time on the radio.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So, Chris, have you heard about poor Joe from Red Dead 2, the tree guy?
No, I don't think so.
So apparently, I don't know why I find this so funny, but I was reading about it, and this just shows like how awesome Red Dead 2 is, right? There's this character up somewhere near New Austin on the map who's literally this old raggedy hermit guy. There you go, that's the word. Who lives in a tree. His name is King Joe. Oh, Poor Joe is what the community calls him, but he refers to himself as King Joe.
Oh, okay.
Right? And apparently he's very irritable. So if you walk near his tree, he'll throw rocks at you and cuss you out. So players experimented. You can't lasso him, but you know what he is? Flammable. You can light the bitch on fire. And I find that so funny that this dude just sits in a tree, talks shit, and people just burn him with a Molotov.
Talk shit, get hit,
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Just that attention to detail with their weird characters that Rockstar puts in.
That's really funny.
It's like, I want to know who designed that. That's like the whole thing with the horse testicles in the game. Like,
yeah, how they dynamically move depending on what temperature you're in.
Yeah, like, who sat down? I imagine these big dudes.
Who's the head of the horse nuts on the Red Dead 2 team?
I imagine these guys, right? They all have these like $40,000 suits. They all sit in a board meeting and they go, all right,
horse nuts.
Next big game, Red Dead Redemption 2. It takes place before Red Dead 1. What are we going to do? Well, here's my thought. Big horse nuts that shrivel and then hang. Oh, okay, good idea. I like that. What about you? Homeless guy in tree. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, but like, what about the story? Homeless guy in tree.
With horse nuts.
Yeah, who's the guy? I want to meet the guy who designed the texture and the asset for the horse nuts.
Right. I want to know where I can download that asset.
Yeah, can you open source that one asset just so I can have it?
for some Photoshop.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Red Dead 2.
Well, they did that in GTA as well. At least on the next gen ones where they added more animals, is you could like definitely see, like if there was a dog walking around, you could definitely see dog nuts.
Yeah, you could. I do remember that. I still think the saddest thing that's ever happened in my life was I was playing GTA 5, and I was driving, and a cat ran out in front of my car, and I fucking killed him. And he was the same color as my cat.
Damn, man.
I was bothered. I ended up driving off a bridge.
Oh.
In game.
I wish you did it in real life.
Fuck you. I'm gonna slap you with a set of horse nuts. Probably like it though.
Don't threaten me with a good time. So this is a somewhat of an informational podcast. So let's talk about more information on stuff.
Why you don't think horse nuts are information?
It's definitely informative, but like maybe not for the audience that we're looking for.
Yeah, like hey Doodle. How big are horse nuts?
According to Wikipedia, the testes of an average stallion are ovoids 8 to 12 centimeters long, 6 to 7 centimeters high by 5 centimeters wide. The penis within the prepuce, also known as the sheath.
Oh, I like that skit. That was funny. So I mean, I would say I'm approximately a horse. You know the worst part? My girlfriend's parents listen to this.
Hi.
I think they do anyway. I hope not. I'm cutting this. I'm not cutting it. Yes, yeah, informative. What are you going to inform us with today? Kind information master.
The Oculus Quest. This is more your territory because you are the VR guy, but
yeah.
The Oculus Quest, they're getting a native port for the game Gorn, which is definitely like probably one of the best VR games, I will say.
Yeah. Yeah, Gorn is actually, and this was straight from the dev's mouth. Oh, well, from his thumbs on Twitter when he was typing. Yeah, it was straight from the horse's mouth. Yeah,
Straight
Gorn.
from the horse's nuts.
Why did I even think of that? Yeah, straight from the horse. Just from the horse, not his nuts, not his mouth. Yeah, it's coming to Gorn. I have three major questions. Three.
Are you sure? Which is it?
3. Will it be cross-buy? If you own it on Rift, we get it on Quest, because a lot of games are. Will it have all the features of going on PC? And will it run well? Because Gorn is another one of those, like, particle effect type games with a lot of physics behind, like, you smash someone's face and there's just fucking blood everywhere.
Well, they probably dial that down, because I remember, like, it ran fairly well on my PC.
Yeah.
But if they scale it down, like, especially those, like, more of those, like, physics-based effects, if they scale that down...
Should be alright.
It should be fine, I think.
My thought process is this is kind of like that whole console meme where at least how bad can the port be when they're optimizing it for one set of hardware?
Yeah, like, it can't be that bad, really.
Yeah. I think it'll be good. I'm excited to try it. I like Gorn. I like Blade and Sorcery. I hope with like a Quest 3 we can get wireless native Blade and Sorcery. That'd be amazing.
Well, I would say like until Blade and Sorcery was out,
Gorn was the go-to.
Gorn was the best
Absolutely.
VR game.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not really everyone's cup of tea because I definitely had like sore arms and hands and shoulders and everything from playing Gorn for multiple hours.
Really?
Yeah. I definitely, because like, right, you get into it and you're holding the triggers really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are on the Vive wands. And you're holding the triggers really hard, so like I had like bruising on the inside of my fingers from where I was holding the triggers.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the longest I've ever played Blade and Sorcery was like a 4-hour session. Going like to town after one of the major updates.
But that's the thing with VR is like when you're in it for that long and then you come out, it feels like everything around you is VR. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. Have you ever had that when you first went into VR, like first time in your life? I forget what the hell they called it, but it's kind of like the bleeding effect.
Yeah, where it's like you kind of lose that...
The touch with reality.
Yeah, yeah.
And when my first ever experience with VR was on the PlayStation VR, one of the demos, where you're in a cage with a shark, right? And looking back, that demo sucks ass. But at the time, that was mind-boggling. And after I took off the headset from like an hour and a half, I genuinely would go to reach for like something on a counter and think my hand was gonna phase through the counter. It was like the weirdest thing. Like my depth perception was off. Super weird.
You definitely like lose that sort of grip that you have on on reality itself when you're in VR for either like for too long or like for the first few times.
What's the longest you've ever played VR? Out of curiosity.
I don't remember.
I have one session where I did it so long that I have vowed to never go anywhere near that amount of time again.
I don't know, maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours, nothing crazy.
Okay.
But that was with breaks in between too, because obviously like I'm a big man, I get sweaty, right? So I have to take the headset off, pour it out, and so I did have breaks in between that I never. It was not like 3-4 hours straight.
So Onward is one of my favorite VR games of all time. It's like Call of Duty in VR.
Yeah.
When I first started playing that, I was heavy into it on the Rift CV1. I got my brother into it. It's a multiplayer game. We played with I think 2 or 3 breaks from 2 in the afternoon till 5 in the morning. It was the longest I've ever been in VR in my life. It was what, like 13 hours? Yeah, it was about like 13 hours.
So you did take like a 1 hour break or a 2 hour break at some point.
I think so. I think we took like a 1 hour break at one point for dinner, and we went right back into it. And the main reason I say I would never do it again, I felt sick for like a day after, not because of like motion sickness, but simply because of pure eye strain, and I didn't sleep for like a day. The amount of blue light.
Sleep schedule.
Yeah, that was the worst experience ever. Now I usually limit VR to a max of like 4 hours with a couple breaks. Like you'll never see me like even when Half-Life Alyx came out, I loved that game. Favorite VR game of all time. I played it for like 2-hour sessions.
Let's see, Sean, do you want to say something? Anything? Yeah, that's what I thought.
This is not animal abuse. Don't worry.
No, it's not actually. I'm just giving him a bit of a hug. Oh, now he wants away. He wants in
Okay,
his box.
that was animal abuse. Just kidding.
No, he jumped away. He's free to go anytime.
Yeah, no, we're just joking. Peter, shut the fuck up. But yeah, Gorn on the Quest, I think, is gonna be pretty awesome. I'm impressed with what has made its way to the Quest. I really am.
Gorn is definitely one of those games where like wires were an inconvenience, but not nearly as much as they are in Blade and Sorcery. Because in Blade and Sorcery, you kind of have to have that 360 degrees.
Yeah.
But in Gorn, it's more like you need the 180, right?
Yeah.
You just need to be like in front of you in a straight line, essentially.
Yeah.
Because very rarely you're gonna have people come up behind you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They're usually killed before that too.
Yeah.
But I definitely love Gorn. It's so silly too. Like you can just like pick
Wiggle
someone
it
up and rip their arm off.
I will say, to my personal taste, and I mentioned this last episode with like Saints Row 4 and Watch Dogs Legions being wacky. Like you had said, Gorn was the best before Blade and Sorcery. I have a hard time going back to Gorn now after Blade and Sorcery because I just prefer the raw, like physics-based realism with Blade and Sorcery.
Well, then again, yeah, if you're playing and you're used to a physics-based game like that, and then you go to a game where the physics are a bit more loose and not based off of real physics, you kind of really start to notice the difference, and you're like, man, this isn't as fun.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm gonna pull it up right now. I have 11.3 hours on Gorn, and I've had that game since I got the CV1 in like November of I think it was 2016 or something like that. I've had it since then. That was like one of the first VR games I bought. I have 46 hours on Blade and Sorcery.
Jeez.
46 hours. Blade and Sorcery is a VR game, and it is one of my most played games on my Steam library. Just something about... With Gorn, I used to just go into it because I was like, oh, cool, this is like the first VR game I have where I feel free in a way. Something about Blade and Sorcery, I will find an hour and a half of just popping in with one sword and physics-based fighting enjoyable. Like, I'll just simply go in there to fight numerous enemies at a time and, like, deflect attacks. And, like I don't need anything crazy to happen.
And that's another thing that I'm also considering buying is to upgrade my VR setup. But the thing is now that with Oculus, I'm just kind of weary. Just because of that whole Facebook integration.
And you should be, because I should have brought this up, actually. You know, they had this thing. I think it was an FAQ page.
Yep.
And one of them, because they just updated their terms of service.
I did get the email about that, yes.
And the FAQ page mentioned, I saw this all over the Reddit because people were pissed. So one of the questions was, will I receive ads in my Oculus device? And you know what the response was?
A resounding yes.
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
Yep. Imagine buying a VR headset. I paid $500 on launch day for my Quest. I paid $400 for my Rift S, and I paid $400 for my CV1. I've had almost every headset. Actually, I have had every headset they've made consumer. I've used the Go. I had the Samsung Gear VR. I didn't ever own a Go, right? You pay money for this product. They don't give you it, and you're going to get ads in it. That is not okay.
You say that. However, Windows gets away with it. You gotta pay for a copy of Windows. Open your start menu. It's full of ads.
That is true. However, I will say, we haven't seen the Oculus implementation of it.
Maybe just blast you with an ad in the middle of a game.
I think there's a difference between a desktop ad and a virtual reality ad.
Now, I don't think they're going to do it this way because
oh God, no, I hope not.
Hate it. But if they did it that way, where it was like, just I'm in the middle of a game and all of a sudden, boom, you have an ad, right? I would be livid. I would just spike my headset on the ground. I don't care.
Yeah, you know what I'm afraid of genuinely with their ads? So if they want to show me ads on, like, maybe I'm on their internet browser app and it shows me ads.
You have that Oculus homepage. I imagine that's probably how they're going to implement it.
That's what so if they want to show me ads there, I'm not a fan of it, but okay. Here's what I have a feeling they will do. I think they're going to do the mobile game thing where you ever play a free mobile game
and like a banner ad.
There's a banner ad, or say you're playing like the Among Us game that I mentioned last episode. The mobile version is free. After every match, you get like an ad, not like a video ad, but just like a pop-up that says like, oh, download this app, and you can just ads out of it, right? I have a feeling they're going to do that, where every time you go to switch apps, let's say you're playing Super Hot, you hit quit, it's going to pop up with an ad.
That would be very obnoxious.
And then you have to close that ad and then start your next game. If that happens, I will be done with Oculus. I'm already weary, but like I had mentioned a couple episodes ago, I already have my Oculus account linked to Facebook. But I will certainly have no problem getting rid of anything Oculus related if it comes to it. Especially with the things that Valve is doing with the HP Reverb 2. That thing's looking spicy.
Yeah, I guess, the dream obviously is a, true wireless experience. And, that's kind of been realized with the Quest, but not in a full way. I kind of want a wireless experience in a sense that, like, I can get all my Steam games and stuff, like, on a headset running on my computer on the headset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that full wireless experience with good quality, high fidelity games. That's what you want at the end of the day.
That's kind of the dream. That's my thought, at least. But I am weary, especially with the whole Facebook integration, and I might just wait for something better. But I don't know.
I think your play as of now, seeing as you're not really in the ecosystem at all, for Oculus is sit back, obviously something is going to come. There's going to be something that's around the corner. Facebook Kinect is their new event. Oh, that's the thing. They changed it from Oculus Kinect to Facebook Kinect.
Oh, boy.
So that
So
event's around the corner.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to break down the barrier between Facebook and Oculus.
Well, did I ever show you the photo of the Oculus logo over time?
No.
So the original said Oculus by something. I think it was the original founder, Lucky Palmer or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Then when Facebook first bought it, it said Oculus. Right?
Okay.
Then they updated it to say Oculus by Facebook. You know what it says? Or you know what their leak was showing?
What's that?
They're going to switch the name to something Facebook by Oculus. It's like, I think they said Facebook VR by Oculus.
Man.
If, like, I don't get it at this point. It seems like it's some sort of, like, dumb political thing at this point. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna strap Facebook to my face.
Look at that. Facebook with a face mask, you know, whatever.
I'm gonna strap Zuck directly to my eyeballs, and I wanna view him in virtual reality.
In all his glory. But, like I was saying, though, before I went off on that little tangent, seeing as you're not really in the ecosystem, you kind of have that ability to sit back for now, see what Oculus does or what Facebook does right now, see, you know, how people feel about it.
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, see what Facebook does, simply because the way they're going, it doesn't seem like there is a barrier between the two.
Yeah.
So.
No. So, I mean, we'll see. I'm holding hope that this integration is just going to be the same shit that it already was, and they're just going to kind of maybe throw some ads because that's what they do, and that's it. But even then, it's like I don't feel like I should be buying a headset and having ads displayed in it. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't get ads on Steam, and Steam's free. And they take their 45 or 55% or whatever of each game. Oculus takes their take of each game, and I have to buy their headset.
Yeah, that's true. Like, they're clearly making enough money on, like, they're definitely making enough money. And again, Facebook is a massive company, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like they're strapped for cash or anything. So, like, I just have a hard time seeing how they're going to justify shoving an ad in my face.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the validation for it.
Hello? Hello?
Cat.
What? Come on. Okay.
Why the hell doesn't he like being picked up?
He's purring.
And he just screams.
He doesn't like actually like when you pick him up, but like he'll sit on your shoulder for a bit.
I remember when Oscar was skinny, and you could hear him purr from a distance. Now you have to have like a fucking stethoscope. You know, Chunk is very insightful.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about Oculus.
Oh, he wants the mustard chair. He's mad because Jordan's in his chair. He loves the chair that you're in.
Always welcome to come sit.
Well, but he doesn't like you in the chair. He just he just wants the chair.
Don't make me get my like 17-pound overweight cat to come down here.
17, that's very generous. He looks like a big loaf of bread. He's beautiful though. I love him.
Yeah, I love him too. He makes bomb bread though.
Big boy.
I thought this might be worth mentioning too, just briefly, but Doom 3 is being ported as a mod, Doom 3 VR, rather, it's a VR mod, to the Oculus Quest. I'm gonna check that out, because I don't remember Doom 3 being a particularly well-received game, as well as a particularly good Doom game, but I do remember, like, 12-year-old me playing out my mom's old laptop being kind of scared shitless by it.
Really?
Yes. Because I believe it was like survival horror. So I'm gonna check it out on the Quest.
Doom is definitely like one of those games / franchises that I could definitely see why you as a child would be scared of it.
Yeah.
Because like children get scared by dumb stuff all the time. I remember, I guess a lot of people share this memory. There was a movie called the Spiderwick Chronicles, and
That sounds familiar.
I saw that in the theater. I was 7 or 8 years old, maybe. And it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I was terrified by that movie.
Baby Chris was scared.
And it's not even like a scary movie either. It's like rated PG or something. It's not even like a horror movie.
Yeah. Well, I remember. I was like age 7, I think. Right? When my brothers made me watch all the Halloween movies that were out at that time.
Okay.
Genuinely, it took until I was about 15 to watch horror movies or play horror video games ever again.
Really?
I swear, being that scared as a kid of a movie rewired my brain to just not be able to tolerate horror games.
Well, I guess granted, when I was like, I don't know, up until I was like maybe 12 or 13, I was like still weary about stuff like that. Now I have that where I'm like, I'm an adult. I realize like, it's a movie. It's not real.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's weird how it happens because now I can watch like any horror movie and like occasionally maybe you'll go to like a movie theater when, the world isn't ending, watch a really good horror movie, and then as you're walking in your car, you're like, whew, that was
spooky.
That was spooky, yeah.
I did pull up the synopsis of this movie as well.
I read that, and yeah, we'll have to read that in a second. I just want to say, how are you with horror video games?
Horror games,
Because,
I'm less keen to than a horror movie.
Me as well. Outlast and Outlast 2, like, those games shook me, and I really had to try to play those.
And I think, horror games are different just because, like,
you're in it.
Well, yeah, you have that barrier where you're like, oh, this is a video game, right? But you're definitely, like, a lot closer to the scares,
And here's how I've always thought, or at least this is what I've always thought was my reason.
Especially in something like an Outlast, because you are the character. You're not looking at it from a third person, like, outside looking in.
Yeah, you're not watching, like, an actor creep through a hallway. You are creeping through a hallway.
Yeah.
The one thing, horror-wise, that I cannot do is VR horror games. I've tried it, and just, like, ambient sounds are enough to make me just not.
Oh, that's even worse, because then, like, it's not, like, it goes a layer deeper where it's, like, you are there.
Yeah.
Because your environment changes, you have your headphones on, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Like, actually. So now you hear a noise in, like, behind you and to the left, and you're like, what was that? Like, you just start swinging.
Yeah. Like, I tried playing Paranormal Activity VR. Couldn't do it. Or it's actually called The Lost Soul. I tried doing The Exorcist Legion or whatever. Couldn't do it. I still want to try to, which is why I think Doom 3 will be good. Because Doom 3 is scary, but the difference between The Exorcist and Paranormal Activity in Doom 3 is I have a shotgun.
Yeah.
So I can defend myself. You can't in those other games. So hit us with that synopsis. I'm curious now why little baby Chris was scared shitless.
Once upon a time, upon moving into the rundown Spiderwick estate with their mother Helen, twin brothers Jared and Simon Grace, along with their sister Mallory, find themselves pulled into an alternate world full of fairies and other creatures. Unable to explain the strange disappearances and accidents that seem to be happening on a daily basis, the family blames it all on Jared. When he, Simon, and Mallory investigate what's really going on, they uncover the fantastic truth of the Spiderwick estate and the creatures that inhabit it. There's more of a storyline summary, but yeah, same idea. So it's like, but here's the thing, is they get attacked at some point because, I remember this, there is a barrier around the house that keeps the evil creatures out. And then the barrier breaks at some point. The evil creatures get in, and they're terrifying.
Yeah.
right? And then they blow them up or something. I don't remember. I think it's like they throw like tomatoes at them or some shit and they die. I don't remember because I've repressed most of this movie just because of how terrified I was watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I will watch it again at some point though.
I think, you know what I was thinking when you were just talking about this? I think I know what we gotta do. Remember I wanted to get a projector for my apartment?
Yeah.
I think we need to have a movie night with the boys and watch the Spiderwick Chronicles.
The Spiderwick Chronicles. It's got a 6.5 on IMDb.
Okay, and that's 6.5 more than I thought it would.
I mean...
I think we're gonna do that. I think that's gonna be the plan.
Yeah.
That would be pretty dope. But, yeah, I do want to get a projector. For those who don't know, which is everybody listening, I have a flat wall in my apartment. It's in my office area, but say we get a projector on a stand, obviously that can be moved out of the way. We basically have a free screen.
Yeah.
So it's a good size wall.
But projectors are at least decent projectors are big money too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I haven't, shot my shot yet.
Like I imagine you're not going to be getting one of those like super high-end laser projectors that are like $2,000.
No, I was more thinking like $75. Yeah, I was thinking I saw like some projectors on Amazon that were like for indoor use. They're like
get one of those
$150.
Like, get one of those like $100 pocket projectors.
Yeah, could.
I mean, I imagine
hook it up to my new soundbar.
That's like the same idea as getting like a real beater like piece of shit car, like a $300 car, Honda Civic from 1990, and then putting $5,000 rims on it.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Well, that's why you know how my car has manual windows and lots.
Yeah,
so,
but you have like a nice stereo head unit.
Yeah, I did a nice head unit, and I had been looking into putting power windows in it, like a conversion kit, and like it's like $250, but like the car is valued at like $1,400.
Yeah, but is that with the manual windows?
Yeah.
Well, how much value does it add if you put power windows in it?
Probably nothing, honestly.
Damn,
because it's not going to be OEM. It's going to be aftermarket.
Dang, man.
So, not doing that, but I also wanted to get the car wrapped. I wanted to wrap my hood and spoiler professionally, because you've seen the spoiler looks like shit from whoever wrapped it before me.
Yeah, whoever did it before, I imagine they got like two like foot-by-foot sheets of vinyl wrap on Amazon and just like stuck it on how they felt fit.
Honestly, that's
you can like there's visible gaps and seams and stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to get the spoiler, the gas cap, the handles, everything that's already wrapped plus the hood wrapped professionally. But by the time I would get that done, I would have already went over the value of the car.
Yeah, getting your car painted or wrapped or anything is like it's a lot of money.
It's big fucking money. So I was thinking if I ever get, well, not if I ever, but when I inevitably have to get a new car, if I go and get like a nice car that's 2 years old, I'll probably wrap it, like the hood and the handles and gas cap, and if it has a spoiler, whatever I think is fit for that car at the time, get it wrapped. But I'm certainly not gonna do it on like a $1,300 car, because wrapping just the hood was like $850.
Jesus.
So why?
And that's a wrap too. Like I'm always like kind of like sketched out about wraps, just because, like, it's not paint, it's vinyl, and I get it's supposed to be strong to like last.
Yeah.
But I'm still really weary about having a car wrapped. That's not gonna be like a show car or something.
Yeah.
Like obviously, like a show car, you want a fancy design on it. Yeah, you would get it wrapped, but
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I prefer wrap over painting. For one, I want carbon fiber, which how the fuck do you paint carbon fiber?
Yeah.
But even if I wanted just like black, I guess painting would be okay.
Just get a real carbon fiber hood.
That's another thing you could do. Why the hell not? Just make the hood out of carbon fiber.
Just get a $6,000 carbon fiber hood.
Yeah, there you go. Probably last a bit longer, but
it saves weight.
True.
You can race your front wheel drive car.
Yeah, honestly. But Oh God, Cat is about to strike.
I'm about to be attacked.
See, I know you can't see this, guys, but Cat is not happy.
Yeah, my cat, my boy Chunk, he's in his box right now. Oh, he got me. And he's swiping at my toes. Yeah, he got me. He drew blood. Little bastard.
All right, that's it. We're putting him down.
Yeah, I think that's kind of funny that, like, well, maybe not funny is the right word, but it's inherently kind of interesting that, if your dog bites someone, you can just get it put down, but, like, my cat, he's drawn blood from me multiple times, and, like, he's still kicking. And
Yeah.
people aren't, like, when a cat scratches you, they're not like, put him down, kill him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends because, like, if Chunk got out and attacked like someone's toddler, they'd probably want him put down.
Yeah, but I wouldn't put him down. I don't care.
Well, legally, sometimes they can call for it depending on
No, I'll
the situation.
Whoever ordered that legally, I will put them down illegally. I don't care.
Oh, I agree with you. If someone ever told me to put my cat down, they'd be meeting the end of a Remington 870.
Aside from the fact
Probably
that,
shouldn't
like,
say that.
Maybe like if my cat was like 20 and they're like, listen, he's hanging on by a thread. Like obviously, then yeah.
Yeah.
But that's different.
But yeah, I mean, I guess it depends because like the only dogs I've ever, I mean, it's just totally off topic and like probably not a good topic, but the only dogs I've ever seen that had to get put down were because they did like a lot of damage. Like my sister had a German Shepherd.
Yeah, like bigger dogs too.
Yeah, my sister had a German Shepherd named Lincoln that like bit straight to bone on my nephew twice in the same spot. So after the second time, they were like, "All right, yeah, we have to put it down."
Like German Shepherds, you know, even like something like an English Bulldog, a bit smaller but still kind of bigger.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a meme, and everyone like foams at the mouth to defend them. But pit bulls,
Yeah.
I don't understand. Right, there's a lot of hate for pit bulls, and there's a lot of people who are like really, really, really for pit bulls, and I don't understand either of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're dogs like everyone else, and obviously like they're big,
Yeah.
and they're strong, and they can be slightly more aggressive if you rile them up, but like so is every dog.
Yeah. Well, funny, there's going to be a good friend of ours listening to this, Jason. He's all for, like, the fact that pit bull isn't much different than any other dog. Like, you rile up a German Shepherd, you rile up a Doberman. Like, any dog can be aggressive.
Especially, like, well, the thing with, I mean, just the sheer size, especially a German Shepherd, they're meant to be a guard dog. So
Yeah.
if you piss off a German Shepherd, there's a reason they use them in the police force.
Yeah.
To, like, just, like, they'll rip your arm off. They don't care.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's kind of, you know, weird to... I mean, yeah, some dogs are more aggressive than others, but marginally. And, I mean, I'm sure there's some breeds of dogs I am not even aware of.
Granted, the most aggressive dogs are all the small ones.
True. I know. Like, Chihuahua, if that thing comes nipping at me, can I kick it in its face?
Essentially, like, you know, it's like an overgrown rat, basically. But my brother's got a dog. A little small, white, adorable dog. But it nips at me every time. And it's like, it's so tiny, so I'm like, ah, you little fucker. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I pick him up and I'm like, ah, you know?
Yeah.
It's never bad. It's the same thing with my cat. Like, sure, he like, scratches me and stuff, he'll bite me or whatever. But I'm like, ah, be small, so I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, honestly. But, you know, off of dead animal talk, how about Big Novice in Zen 3?
Big Navi, Zen 3. I am excited.
Yeah, for those who don't know, most of you might, some of you might not. Big Navi is the code name for the new AMD GPUs, and Zen 3 is the next-gen CPU architecture from
I'm
AMD.
excited. I have a Zen 2 processor currently.
Well, what has me intrigued is Big Navi. Okay, Big Navi we've known about. We know that it's supposed to be big, grande. Zen 3, though, with the strides they've made in the CPU market, I'm intrigued to see what Zen 3 brings. Because, like, 10th gen Intel was kind of disappointing. Well, I say kind of, but it was very.
Well, yeah, the thing with that was, like, the original Zen architecture was, like, really good, and it was, like, definitely, like, went toe-to-toe with the Intel stuff. Zen Plus was same thing, went toe to toe with Intel, but Zen 2 just like mopped the floor.
Yeah.
Like Zen 2 was like leaps and bounds better than Intel stuff. Obviously now they have the 10th gen stuff, which is kind of on par with the Ryzen, at least like the Ryzen 9s. You know, I have a 3900X. It goes toe to toe with the 9900K.
Yeah.
And especially in situations where you're stressing those threads, it's definitely going to go way above and beyond a 9900K because it's got
way
8
more cores.
threads.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because yours is a 12 core, right?
a 12 core, 24 thread.
Yeah,
yes.
I have the 9900K, and it's 8 core. So obviously, like you said, you have 8 more threads.
Yeah.
So it would obviously, when you really need those cores, So I'm intrigued by Zen 3 a lot too, just because, like I said, their CPUs have been like outstanding with Zen 2.
Absolutely.
So like, just imagine what's Zen 3 gonna be now. It's just gonna be like way better than what Zen 2, and then what? Now it's tenfold better than Intel. So I'm kind of intrigued by that, and then
yeah, I'm super interested in the new AMD stuff, especially GPUs, just because I'm not ready to dive headfirst into an upgrade just yet.
yeah,
But if Big Navi is supposed to be like, if it ends up being cheaper and if it ends up being cheaper and on par with a 3080 or something, you might as well get one.
nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Zen 3, I meant to mention this, is supposed to be an enhanced 7-nanometer node process. So, isn't Intel still on 14?
I believe so.
Oh, these fucking guys.
The only thing with that is we're making electronics so small now that it will arc if
Too much power.
Yeah, like if we make them any smaller, there's too much bleed between it arcs between the traces and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because of how small it is, even though it's not a ton of current or whatever, it'll
Well,
arc.
when you have like an atom between two traces,
Yeah.
can't do much, And then like you were saying with Big Navi, so apparently, from what we know, Big Navi is said to have nearly 50% more performance per watt over the RX 5000 from the RDNA 1 architecture.
Which, granted, what does that mean, really?
That's what that's my thinking, is like 50% more performance per watt. So does that mean it's like, if this GPU is, if RDNA 1 RX 5000 is, say, a 275 watt GPU, does that mean for 160 watts you get the same performance? It's 1.5 times more efficient, so you need less power to hit that performance mark. Like, is that what that means?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's very vague. You could just say, which would make more sense. You could just say it is this % better than the RDNA RX 5000. Then you have a reference point. You look up the benchmarks. There you go.
Yeah. So to me, honestly, that's what 50% more performance per watt means. Is if this one's just because it's an easy number, RDNA 1 is 500 watts. I know it's not, obviously, but if it's 500 watts, that means that for 50% less wattage, you can get the same performance out of this Big Navi GPU. But once again, okay, so does that mean that this GPU is literally only more power efficient, or am I getting 50% more performance at that, plus it's this much better in general? Like, I think that's the most vague thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that makes me slightly worried because I believe it.
Yeah.
It's definitely intentionally vague.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm going to get a 3080, or, I mean, I say that, but scalpers and shit, but I'm going to attempt and hopefully succeed at getting a 3080 with the hopes that if it ends up being, even if it's good, but Big Navi's better, I'm sure I have enough time to return that bitch and get Big Navi.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about it, especially with how vague it is.
But yeah, it is pretty vague, but for those, the main reason of bringing this up was that the keynote, so when this stuff is going to be unveiled officially, Zen 3 keynote is October 8th, so not too far away. Month and what, like 5 days? Yeah, something like that.
Yep.
And then I don't have anything here about Big Navi's keynote, but I think they might have said sometime in October. I don't know if you want to fact check that. But I don't know if they gave a specific date for Big Navi. Or maybe I'm just dumb, and when I wrote up the notes, I just somehow forgot it.
Seems like it'll be at the 10/28.
Okay, so October 28th will be the Big Navi.
Big Navi keynote will be the 28th of October.
Any time, like hour-wise?
10 p.m., 10 a.m. Pacific time. So
that's 12, right, for us?
I think that's 1 o'clock.
It's
Eastern
1 o'clock
time.
for Eastern. What about Zen 3 keynote on the 8th?
The Zen 3 keynote, same time.
Okay, so 1 p.m. the 8th will be Zen 3, or Eastern time anyway. And then 1 p.m. on the, what was it, 27th?
28th.
28th. So 20 days later. So beginning of the month, end of the month, they'll have it. Which, is it, I guess I can't really ask this question because AMD is kind of the only one I know of that does CPUs and GPUs. But it just seems odd to me to have like a CPU unveiling, but not at the same time as your GPU unveiling. I guess it made sense because they're kind of separating the two. It's two different entities because they really are.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the thing with that is, like, when does the 3070 come out? It's like mid-October,
so
right?
let me see if I know this right off the top of my head. September 17th is the 3080.
Yeah.
The 3090, I believe, is September 20th or 21st. And then on October, I think it just got announced that October 15th is the 3070 release.
My thought would be it would make a lot more sense to flip those around, right? So you get the unveiling of the new Big Navi GPU on the 8th.
Yeah.
So that way, people got this in their minds when they're about to go buy a 2070 or 3070.
Yep.
And they think about this and they're like, well, you know, I could wait for this, or I could get a 3070. You know?
Yeah.
But now, when they do the 28th, people already have their 3070s. Goddamn. Their 3070s. That doesn't roll off the tongue as well as 2070.
It doesn't. Yeah. Definitely doesn't. But it's also because it's new. Once it's already embedded,
But everyone's already got their 3070, and they're like, well, I don't care about this now.
Yeah, I mean, if they unveil their thing and they're like, yes, 10% more than 3070, people are going to be like, well, yes, but I already purchased a 3070. It's like $50 more. Just say, you know.
Or if they go, like, just, you know, if they absolutely go to mop the floor like they did with Ryzen, they're going to end up doing, like, this will do 10%, or this will do the same performance as a 3080, or this will do 5% more performance than a 3080 for $550.
Yeah. And then, yeah, exactly. And, I think, I understand maybe Big Navi really it's just not ready yet, like, for whatever reason. But I really think they need to start announcing. It's the same shit with the PlayStation and Xbox Series X. Series X goes for pre-order in 3 days. We don't even know the price or release date of the PS5.
The PS5 especially, I think Xbox probably has the same thing going on as what I think Nvidia has, which is like they know something we don't.
Yeah.
So the Xbox actually set the bar very high by how low their prices are.
I was going to say they set the bar very high by setting the price point very low.
Yeah. It's a weird way to put it, but yeah, they definitely have set a precedent. And it's basically, I am unsure of what PlayStation is going to do. I thought with the next generation of consoles, it was going to be a fight to get them under $1,000.
Yes, that was my exact thinking.
I was thinking, especially when the specs got announced for the original Series X and the PS5, I was under the impression, like, there's no way those can be $4.99 a piece. I was thinking closer to like $8.99.
That's honestly, that was my exact thinking, was like $7.50 for these next gen consoles. And I honestly, I was spacing this out when I was just saying PlayStation needs to make a move. September 16th, this Wednesday, at 1 p.m. I think, is their showcase where they announce the price, the release date, and pre-orders.
Well, I want to see because maybe they'll do the same thing that Xbox has done, where they have the two tiers, where they have the Series X and the Series S. Maybe they'll have a PS5 and like a PS5 Lite or some shit.
Yeah, because so far they just have the PS5 and the digital edition, which is just no CD drive, so it's reportedly maybe like $50 cheaper.
Which, if that's the case, if I end up buying a console, I will probably buy the digital editions of either of them.
Yeah, on whatever one you buy.
And again, I did mention this, if either one does a console, a Cyberpunk edition console, I will definitely be buying that console regardless of what it is.
Have you seen the Cyberpunk Xbox One?
I have.
Yeah. It'd be cool if they did that for next gen. They might.
But the thing is, I don't want an Xbox One.
No, of course not. I'm just saying. So maybe they will.
But if they end up doing one with next gen consoles, I will probably end up buying one, because they did a. Didn't Nvidia do a Cyberpunk 2080?
GPU, but they didn't put it for sale.
Yeah, it was just a
giveaway.
concept thing.
It was a giveaway.
Oh,
They
yeah.
gave one away.
I would
or a
I wish
couple.
I wish they made like those a production thing. I would definitely buy one.
Oh yeah, no, I would have. It'd be cool if they did something like that for the 3070 and 80 and 90, because they're near the launch of Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
But what the hell was I gonna say? With the PlayStation, there was some articles that I saw that reportedly say Sony is doing last-minute price cuts to their hardware.
Well, yeah, because look what Xbox has done.
So now that makes you wonder.
$299 for a, it's an all-digital console. Granted, it's less powerful, but $299 for an Xbox. Brand new.
So picture this, guys. We talked about this last episode, but $299. You have an Xbox Series X that sweeps the floor with the Nintendo Switch for the same price. Obviously, they fulfill two different purposes in the market. But if you are someone who just wants gaming at, highest fidelity, the Series S is absolutely sweeping the floor in that territory. You cannot build a PC that will compete with it at that price point.
Oh, at that price point, no.
Absolutely not. So, for $300, the Series S is very compelling. I personally wouldn't buy it because I don't buy Xboxes. I have my PC for their exclusives, and I have no interest in their market. But the PS5 has to be the same price or less.
At the end of the day, I think because between the generations, what had happened was, because they release consoles so infrequently, at least new generations of consoles, they do like, what had happened is like 2013, PC gaming was fairly uncommon.
Yeah. That's true. It was a lot less common.
And you go now in 2020, it's extremely common.
Yeah, it has the highest market share now, I think. Right?
I know at least several people. I don't know, like all my friends at least, and then like a ton of people I know, just like at work or in general, have bought gaming PCs.
Yeah.
Even people who aren't like super knowledgeable about PCs buy gaming PCs, which if you're not really knowledgeable about PCs and you want a gaming PC, read up about them, right? You need to like learn about it, because you can't just rely on your one tech savvy friend to help you out with everything. As someone who's been the tech savvy friend before, for someone who doesn't really know a lot or pretty much anything about PCs, it's really annoying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that Series S at that price point, I mean, I already know what ballpark I'm in with Sony, but like they got to do something. It has to be $450, or it has to be the same price, because even on paper, the Series X is more powerful than the PS5 by like a fair margin.
Oh yeah.
The only difference is that, as far as I know, that proprietary SSD setup on the PS5 is superior to that on the Xbox.
Yeah, my only thing is like, the only reason I would get an Xbox is, like I said, if they did a Cyberpunk exclusive Xbox.
Yeah.
But if I do end up getting a console, I will probably get a PlayStation regardless, just because Sony makes way better exclusives than Microsoft.
Well, you already know God of War 2 or whatever is going to be on there. And
Exactly.
if it happens in this generation, God of War 3, because the the lead, what's his name? I forget his name, but he said it's already like a trilogy.
Exactly.
You're not gonna find that on your Series X.
You know, so that's where I stand on it.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. Is like, there's nothing about Xbox that leads me to them. Like, yes, the Series S is great, but why would I buy a Series S even though it has this great price to performance when I already have my PC? They're exclusives on my PC. They're exclusives, not that great.
That's true. Like, that has me thinking, like, what is the main draw to Xbox? Like, what do people get out of buying an Xbox? Especially, like, I understood the 360. I had a 360.
I did as well. I had multiple.
Like,
I had
360 had, like, a lot of hype to it. But, like, buying an Xbox One, why?
I don't know. They messed up the launch of the Xbox One substantially with DRMs, price points. They had botched it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. This generation, they're fits in their shit. They haven't said anything about Kinect. They have this really awesome price point console.
Kinect. I totally forgot about Kinect. That's how bad it was.
You know what a lot of people use Kinect for? VR.
Really?
You can use it for Blade and Sorcery for full body tracking.
Interesting. I bet it's not that great, though.
Works pretty good. The biggest problem you have is there's only one Kinect, so it's facing forward. But it works good for leg tracking.
I'll have to look. I might have my Kinect still.
360 one or the Xbox One?
360.
I'm not sure if it'll work.
Aw, man.
I think you can get used Kinects for like $25 though.
That's my experience with the Kinect, though, is the 360 Kinect. I don't know if the One is any better.
Not from what I heard of.
I remember I made an effort, like, when I got my 360, I made sure to ask for the one with the Kinect. Because I was like, this is going to be awesome. It wasn't awesome.
No, not at all.
It was not at all.
Even, like, think about this, Chris. Even PlayStation has that other element. Like, a lot of people forget about this, and a lot of people sleep on this. PlayStation has a VR headset. That's a whole nother element that you cannot get on the Xbox. So much so that PS5, or Sony rather, has already announced that there is a PSVR 2, and Xbox has already gone on record saying nobody likes VR, and that nobody wants VR to succeed.
Okay, buddy. This just in, you can get a used Microsoft Xbox One Kinect sensor for $49.99 on eBay.
Yeah, see? There you go. That's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't pay for it because fuck Kinect, but yeah, Xbox has stated they have zero interest in VR. Well, there you go. If you want a console that has VR capabilities, and I have used the PSVR, does it compare to PC VR? No. But it's better than mobile VR, and it really does kind of sit in like a league of its own, you know? It's like a really good VR headset for someone who doesn't want the $2,000 PC, and maybe someone who wants something better than what you can get on the Quest, or maybe just doesn't want that Facebook integration. PSVR is a great place to be, and especially with the PS5 being so much more powerful.
Yeah, I want to see more console VR, to be honest with you.
Well, good luck with that. Xbox is pretty stubborn.
I mean, that's the only thing that, like, console's really, really missing out on.
Yeah, except for the PlayStation.
Well, you say except for the PSVR. I mean, like, good VR, like real VR.
Yeah, they have the games. They just don't have the hardware. The PS4 is a lot of it underpowered for VR. The headset is decent, comfort-wise. The display isn't that great. The controllers, they're okay, but the sensors are the worst part.
Like, make a real headset, like PSVR 2. I want to see that.
Make a real VR headset like PSVR 2 that's similar to the Rift S with inside-out tracking, and you are golden.
Absolutely. Then you don't have to dick around setting up sensors, and it's, you know.
I think, honestly, if Sony does make PSVR 2...
Well, how much was the original PSVR?
When it launched, it was extremely expensive. I think it was like $600.
Yeah, so, like, same price point, like $500.
Yeah.
Right? You get the whole shebang with it. You can make way more for that price point at this time than you could for that price point when VR was new. Because
that's what I was going to say, because you have to keep in mind this is for like a console market. Like, no one wants to buy $1,000 Valve Index in the console market.
Yeah, exactly.
So if they can make a PSVR 2 like the Rift S, for even the Rift S price point, the Rift S is $400. Yes, $400 is a lot of money, But for a VR headset, as good as it is, it's not that much money. That's extremely cheap.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
so if they can relaunch a proprietary PSVR 2 that's 350, 400, maybe at most 450, and have it like the Rift S with inside-out tracking, constellation tracking instead of this dumbass light tracking, they got something on their hands.
Yeah, they're gonna draw in a lot more people.
Yeah, I honestly think so. Because that's the biggest fallback with PSVR now is the setup. You have one camera in the front. That's it.
Yeah, that can't be that good.
It's not. I upgraded from that to the Rift, the original Rift CV1.
Oh, yeah.
Night and day. I would never. It's so bad that I can't go back to playing on it. And I think it's locked at 70 something hertz.
Yeah, at least make something comparable, especially if you got all that console to go with.
That's the beauty of these next gen consoles. I mean, it's the beauty of any new console, because when the PS4 came out, it was the same shit. It was like, holy crap, you know? But by today's standards, with this PS5 and Series X, they are so much better than those last gen consoles that it is on par with like your middle range gaming PC now, you know, spec for spec.
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that now, once again, like we always say, it's a lot easier to optimize for one set of hardware. You could very easily get a VR headset on that console that is way better.
Oh yeah.
And have it be PC alike. No problem. They even have the liberty and freedom to even have a proprietary port if they want to, because that's what they had with the original PSVR 2.
Oh yeah, I could see that too. You got a VR port on the front of your PS4 or
Yeah.
PS5 rather. Right, you do that, and it's same idea as the link cable.
Exactly.
It's just a fiber cable that you go through.
There you go. And once again, you have people on PS5. They already have the PS5. Now they have this VR headset that's actually comparable, where now developers don't have to make Blade and Sorcery AAA on people. Well, I shouldn't say AAA because it's a small indie studio, but these actually good VR experiences like Blade and Sorcery, Half-Life Alyx, and then make these like indie filler type things on PSVR.
Yeah.
So, you know, like that's their move. If they really embrace PSVR, like they have something. They have a perfect machine for it.
I think so.
You know, the small. Well, I shouldn't say small console because the PS5 is fucking huge. It is massive. I think it's the biggest console of all time.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 12. It's like 12 or 13 inches by like 4 thick. It's a big boy.
It's a big lad.
But
whatever, you know.
Oh yeah, but for the size, I mean, my PC is bigger than that, and for the size, you get this nice VR box. Everything
then you have to
works.
think, like, that thing is smashed, like just overflowing with components. Like, have you ever been inside a console? Have you ever looked at the inside of a console?
Yeah, I've taken apart a bunch of my PS4s that I had.
It is just like full of components.
Yeah,
there's like not a millimeter of unoccupied space in those chassis.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, we've been going on for a while, but I think it would be very, very impressive if they would get a good VR headset for the PS5. I think a lot more people would respect it more than anything.
Oh yeah,
because a lot of the problems we have with VR is from naive people. Not to sound like a arrogant PCMR dick, but you have these people with their PSVR that are like, bro, what the fuck? Everything looks like I'm looking through a piece of saran wrap. But then on the PC side of things, should you have the money and capabilities, you can buy a $1,000 Valve Index, that's 120 hertz refresh rate, that has knuckles controllers that track individual fingers. You can't get that now.
That's the thing that's where I think the PC argument falls apart.
Yes.
Is where, you know, a lot of people are like, well, PC looks way better. You get better frame rates. But think about, well, your Xbox Series X, that's $500. How much did you spend on your PC?
Yeah, exactly. Like, my PC, I spent $700 on it. All right, $1,700, sorry.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal, I run it at high, locked 144. Well, this next console is promising to lock at 120 for like Gears 5. $500. You're telling me that I have $1,200 more of component in there.
Yeah,
Not really.
That's the thing. If you only play video games, the argument falls apart.
Yeah.
But if you do more stuff, like I do a lot of like enterprise sort of stuff, right? Just to dick around with it, just because like I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of like a weird nerd, right? But I really love like, networking, enterprise, IT equipment. It's great. So I do a lot of stuff like that. I do a lot of video editing. I compile stuff from source on my machine a lot.
Exactly.
And
so
it takes a lot of CPU horses.
you obviously have that, that use case for it. And
So,
it makes a lot of sense.
That's the thing, is you're limited with a console to like one thing. You can play a video game.
And maybe like Netflix streaming,
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
like
you
that.
can like video games and like video streaming. With a PC, you can do it all. That's my only bottom line. It's just that things are a lot more finicky. You kind of have to look up your own stuff, especially if you're new to the PC market.
Yeah. That's for sure. You really do have to research and
I'm not even saying this, and I'm saying this from like a Linux point of view too, is like just starting into PCs, like it's decently easy to learn about all the components and stuff, but you do really need to, RTFM, as it were, with a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And that's the Arch side of me talking, is like every time you ask a question about Arch, people are gonna say RTFM.
What does that mean? Read
the fucking manual.
I thought so.
Because but that's the thing, is I read the fucking manual, right? I read the manual with my own two eyes, and it wasn't there.
All right, I think it's time to put Chris down for like a nap, or just put him down in general.
I'm probably a little bit crankier than usual. I haven't eaten at all today, so.
Yeah, me neither. So, I have just received a text message saying that there will be food at some point.
At some point.
Yes, my girlfriend's at her mom's and she's going to bring me food at home.
Oh wow! Look at that.
I'm gonna be like, what is it? She's gonna be like, this. I'm gonna be like, McDonald's.
This, and it's just gonna be a bucket of salt water.
With one fish in it.
I made you soup.
Eat it, you ungrateful bitch.
It's a bucket of not even like it's not even like hot either. It's lukewarm salt water.
Oh man, I think it's time to go bye.
Like forever? Like are we?
No. We're not doing that. No.
No suicide pact? Okay.
No. However, if you want to send some death threats in.
Yes, that's the thing. We're gonna round out this episode. I think that's it. That's the end of the show. Okay. If you did enjoy the video, do all the normal YouTube stuff. Do whatever.
Be sure to subscribe, because as time goes on, you're gonna see Chris become more and more unhinged.
Yeah. Actually, I've started my slow descent into madness a while ago, but it's a very slow descent. So, you'll see it. You'll see me. The cracks start to show. But if you want to send us an email, a comment, question, concern, or death threat, send that to Synapse Misfire at pm.me. That is our email address, and it will be read on the show. If you feel like it, if you don't like to browse YouTube, whatever, you don't have YouTube Premium, you can't lock your phone and listen to the show, you can import our RSS feed into your favorite podcasting app.
Now, if you're someone who doesn't listen to podcasts a lot, I recommend Pocket Cast. I actually imported our show in there to test it out. It's how I make sure all of our uploads work.
Yep.
Works beautifully. All you do is copy the link, go to the Discover page on that app, import it as if you were searching for a show. Good to go.
Right. I don't use a lot of dedicated podcasting apps because I don't listen to a ton of podcasts, but I'll take Jordan's word for it. It can't be that difficult, really. The link will be in the description for that, and you can do that as you wish. And eventually, and I say this, eventually, we will be on Spotify as well.
Yeah, actually, we're probably going to discuss this man-to-man right after this episode.
Man-to-man. I'm going to bring in my negotiator, Chunk the Cat. Anyway, that's the show. We'll be here next week, probably.
Yeah.
See.
Actually, next week we should have PS5 details. Ooh. We should have NVIDIA details.
Fancy.
More banter. Maybe some stupid stories. Chunk should be here.
Yeah, he'll be screaming.
We have to find all the clips of him screaming and just make a compilation at the end of the year.
Yeah, he screams a lot though. Anyway.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching. Bye. Get out of my house. Exit the premises.
Bitch. Oh my god, I almost just fell.